She is the biggest thing women's basketball has ever seen, and the media is bleeding her dry for every click they can get. Every single week it's something new. A columnist compares her to a lynching victim. A rival player likes a post joking about violence against her. A podcast host tells her she needs to speak up more when she already has. And every time the outrage cycle spins, the ratings climb, and Caitlin Clark just keeps showing up to play basketball like nothing happened. But something has been building underneath all of this, and once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. Stick around, because by the end of this video you are going to understand exactly how this machine works, who is really behind it, and why nobody with the power to stop it actually wants to. Before we get into it, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This channel breaks down the real story behind the headlines, and you do not want to miss what is coming. The column that broke the internet. Let's start with the moment that kicked off the latest firestorm. In the days leading up to the WNBA All-Star Game in Chicago, USA Today columnist Nancy Armour published an opinion piece about Caitlin Clark's on-court complaining. That, by itself, is a normal sports opinion. Plenty of people think Clark reacts too much to officiating. That is a basketball take and it's fair game. But Armour did not stop there. She connected Clark's fan reactions and her style of play to a much darker place. She invoked the name of Emmett Till, the black teenager murdered in 1955, tying the danger she claimed Clark's fans posed to black and queer WNBA players to that history, and noting that the All-Star Game happened to be taking place in Till's hometown of Chicago. The reaction was immediate and it was brutal. Media figures across the political spectrum, not just Clark's fans, called the comparison reckless and completely disconnected from an article that started out being about basketball flopping. Within a day, Armour posted a statement calling her own comparison inartful, while still standing by her broader point about threats faced by black players in the league. Here's the thing. An apology like that does not undo the headline. It does not undo the outrage cycle. It does not undo the millions of impressions, shares, and reaction videos that got made off the back of one sentence. The damage and the clicks were already locked in. That is not an accident. That is the business model. Why outrage is the product. Think about what actually happened here from a business perspective. A major national outlet needed traffic during All-Star Weekend. The safest way to guarantee that traffic is to attach Caitlin Clark's name to something explosive. It does not even matter if the take falls apart under scrutiny, because by the time the correction or the apology comes out, the story has already done its job. It got the clicks. It got the shares. It got people arguing in the comments for 3 straight days. This is not a one-time thing. Since Clark entered the league, her name has been used as a hook for stories about race, class, media bias, player safety, officiating standards, and now being weaponized in comparisons to actual historical tragedies. Every single one of those stories generates enormous traffic, because Clark's audience is enormous, and outrage travels faster than analysis. And here's the part that should make you angry. Clark did not ask for any of this. She has repeatedly said, going all the way back to her rookie year, that people should not use her name to push agendas that have nothing to do with her, and that doing so is disappointing and not acceptable. She said that in 2024. She has said versions of it again since. The message has been consistent from day one. It just keeps getting ignored because ignoring it is more profitable than listening to it. The commentary class piles on. Now let's talk about how this plays out in sports media commentary, because this is where things get complicated and where a lot of narratives get twisted online. Former ESPN host Elle Duncan weighed in on the discourse around this time, arguing that the ongoing culture war coverage of Clark had become exhausting and absurd. Her actual point was more nuanced than a lot of clip accounts made it sound. She was explicit that she did not think the blame belonged on Clark herself. Instead, she argued that commentators, politicians, and online personalities kept hijacking Clark's name to fuel fights that had nothing to do with basketball, and she said Clark's camp needed a new strategy for pushing back against people using her as a political football. Whether or not you agree with her proposed solution, that is a very different message than blame Caitlin Clark, and it is worth being precise about what people actually say versus what gets clipped and recirculated for outrage. A lot of channels blur that line because a villain is more engaging than a nuanced take. We are not going to do that here. We deal in what was actually said, not what makes for the angriest thumbnail. That said, there is a real criticism to make. Media figures across the spectrum, including columnists at the New York Post and elsewhere, have pointed out the impossible standard Clark keeps getting held to. One columnist put it simply: no matter how many times Clark says the thing people want her to say, it is never enough, and critics keep demanding she respond to every new controversy, giving it far more oxygen than it deserves. That criticism is aimed less at any one commentator and more at the entire ecosystem that keeps manufacturing new demands the moment the old one gets satisfied. When players get pulled into it too. This story is not just about columnists and talk shows. It bleeds onto the court itself, and that is where things get genuinely dangerous. Back in May, Golden State Valkyries guard Tiffany Hayes got into a heated exchange with Clark during a game, complete with hot mic comments afterward criticizing how officials called fouls on Clark. That part is normal basketball rivalry. Trash talk happens. Frustration with officiating happens. What crossed the line was what happened next on social media. Hayes engaged with fan posts targeting Clark, including one where a fan joked about having cousins who would show up if requested, an unmistakable, if joking, reference to physical confrontation. Hayes responded to it instead of ignoring it, and screenshots of the exchange went viral within hours. Fans and media figures across the league called it reckless, with some outlets specifically asking whether the WNBA had a responsibility to review player conduct when it comes to engaging with posts that even jokingly reference harming another player. Now step back and ask yourself, why does a moment like this even happen? It happens because the entire environment around Clark has been so saturated with tension, hot takes, and manufactured drama that even players start to feel like they are performing for an audience that wants conflict, not competition. The machine does not just consume outrage. It manufactures the conditions that create more of it. The part nobody wants to say out loud. Here is the uncomfortable truth sitting underneath all of this. Every party involved benefits from the chaos, except Clark herself. The media benefits, because Clark-related controversy is the single most reliable traffic driver in the sport right now. Opposing commentary benefits, because taking a side in the discourse builds a bigger platform than talking about box scores. Political figures benefit, because attaching themselves to a viral sports controversy gets them attention outside their usual audience. Even some of Clark's own most aggressive online defenders benefit in a strange way because outrage defending her generates just as much engagement as outrage attacking her. The only person who consistently gains nothing from any of this is the player at the center of it, who has said from the very start that she just wants people to stop using her name for fights that are not hers. And that raises the real question this entire saga forces us to confront. What happens when a 24-year-old athlete becomes more valuable as a symbol than as a basketball player? Because right now, across sports media, that appears to be exactly what has happened. The jump shots, the assists, the historic ratings her games pull in, all of that gets buried under the next controversy, because conflict outperforms basketball every single time in the algorithm that decides what gets pushed to your feed. Where this goes from here. So where does this leave the WNBA, and where does it leave Clark? The uncomfortable answer is, probably exactly where it is right now. There is no single fix for an incentive structure this deeply embedded in how digital media makes money. Outrage is cheap to produce and expensive to resist chasing, especially when the alternative is writing a normal basketball recap that gets a fraction of the engagement. What can change is how much oxygen we, as an audience, choose to give it. Every click on a manufactured controversy is a vote for more manufactured controversy. Every share of an out-of-context clip teaches the algorithm to serve up more of exactly that. If audiences started rewarding basketball analysis the way they currently reward outrage bait, the incentive to manufacture the next Caitlin Clark controversy would start to shrink. Until that happens, expect more of this. Expect another columnist to find another explosive comparison to make. Expect another commentator's nuanced point to get flattened into a soundbite. Expect another player to get pulled into a fight that started somewhere else entirely. The pattern has been consistent for 2 full seasons now, and there is no sign of the machine slowing down anytime soon. At the end of the day, this comes back to a simple, frustrating fact. Caitlin Clark has said what she needed to say. She said it in her rookie year, and she has said versions of it since. She wants to play basketball. She wants the conversation to be about the game. And every single time it looks like that might actually happen, someone finds a new way to drag her back into a fight that was never hers to begin with. That is the real story here. Not one villain, not one bad take, but an entire system built to profit off her name, whether the story is true, exaggerated, or completely manufactured. What do you think is actually going to break this cycle, if anything can? Drop your take in the comments because I want to hear it. If this video helped you understand what is really going on behind these headlines, make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who is tired of the noise too. This is Keep the Vision, and we will see you in the next one.